Hey everyone, my name is Joseph. Welcome to another Impact live stream. Today we are talking about love and the biblical definition of love. But before we get into that, I want to cover a little bit of ground. Today we were supposed to have a guest speaker on to talk about some of the definitions of or proof that God exists. Unfortunately, we were not able to have that happen today, as it is Mother's Day, and many of you guys may be out today, so we are going to be talking about something else today. And unfortunately, the rest of the team is out celebrating Mother's Day with their families. So you got just me today. But nonetheless, we are going to try and get this thing done. So if you guys have questions, feel free to put them in the comments. I will do my best to answer them. It is just me today, so you don't have the wisdom of good Miles. Oh, well, there goes my mic. But we are talking today about love and the biblical definition of love. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. Once again, if you guys have comments or questions, feel free to enter them into the chat. Okay, so society tells us a lot of things about love, doesn't it? They tell us a lot of things. Some of the things we can find in movies, in music, in books, it's all over society. Love is like a word that's thrown around everywhere. It's like, some things you might hear, like the song, what is it? You should go and love yourself. That was like a really bad version of that. But you hear that song, all the time. You hear, love is never having to say sorry. That's from a movie, I think. Love Story. Sorry. Love is also, people say in society, love is, whatever you want it to be, don't worry about it. It's just, it's whatever you want. We're not going to judge you, But what does the Bible actually say about love? I feel like society throws this word around so much that Christians oftentimes have a hard time defining what love is according to the Bible. So we are going to kind of go do an overview version of this, a little quick thing. We're not going to go too long, maybe about 30 minutes. So we're going to look at a couple scriptures. As it is just me, I'm going to try and make this more interactive. So if you guys have questions, comments, let me know. But if you guys would, turn with me to 1 Corinthians 13, and we're going to read from verse 1 through 8. So yeah, we're going to open up our Bibles a little bit, because if we're wanting to learn about the biblical definition of love, we have to look at the Bible, right? So now, this chapter of the Bible is very famous for defining love. Many of you guys may even know it by heart, but nevertheless, we are going to read it. So 1 Corinthians 13, verse 1, and we're going to read all the way to verse 8. So it says, I'm going to read it here. I got my phone. Though I speak with the tongues of men and of angels, but have not love, I have become sounding brass or a clanging cymbal. Real quick, I have a quick joke. I used to play the triangle for Sunday worship, but I was so bad I sounded like a clanging cymbal. So there you go. There's your pun for the day. Some people don't like puns, but anyway. All right, so let's move on. And though I have the gift of prophecy and understand all mercies and all knowledge, and though I have all faith so that I could remove mountains but have not love, I am nothing. And though I bestow all my goods to feed the poor, and though I give my body to be burned and have not love, it profits me nothing. Love suffers long and is kind. Love does not envy. Love does not parade itself. It is not puffed up, does not behave rudely, does not seek its own, is not provoked, thinks no evil, does not rejoice in iniquity, but rejoices in truth, bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never fails. And then it goes on to talk about other things. So I'm going to stop right there. Okay, so this passage is pretty famous. Many of you guys know it by heart. But these are some of the adjectives or qualities of what love is. And we look at these things and we're like, man, these qualities, these are kind of hard. It's kind. I'm not always kind. It does not envy. I certainly envy. It does not parade itself. And as we read these things, we're like, man, this is kind of hard. I wish there was an example of what love looks like in a human being. Thankfully, we have Jesus to give us a shining example of what love is. So with that, I'm going to turn now to John 15:13. I have my notes here. So John 15:13 is where I'd like to go next. I'll give you guys a quick time to turn to that. Jesus set a great example for what love is throughout his life. And if you study the life of Jesus, you should have a shining example of what love looks like in a human being. I want to read a bit of John here that talks about the ultimate definition of what love is. So John 15:13, again, this is a verse that many of you probably know by heart. It says, "Greater love has no man than this, that he laid down his life for his friends." And then verse 14, "You are my friends if you do whatever I command you." You know, Jesus set an example of what love is because he sacrificed himself for us. You know, this self-sacrificial love is what the Bible talks about. And it's something that we lose in society. You know, society is always framing love on what we are about. You know, it's focusing on you. Love is something that affects you. It's to please you. And Jesus goes the complete opposite, as he many times does with a lot of the things that he talks about in the Bible. You know, he says, no, love is sacrificing yourself for others. It's putting yourself last. It's putting others first. It's sacrificing yourself. And so if you read the life of Jesus, if you study the life of Jesus, if you do with the perspective of love, you will find some pretty interesting things. And so I highlighted 3 things that stuck out to me about Jesus's life with the perspective of love. And I'm going to just go through them real fast. I think they're important because many times we lose that. And I'd encourage you guys, this is just scratching the surface. I'd encourage you guys to read them yourself and study this topic because it's a really important topic. I'd encourage you guys to read this on your own as well. So the first thing, like we just talked about, love is self-sacrificial. And the verse I gave for this is John 3:16. You know, you guys also know this one by heart. It's amazing how many verses we know about love, but we don't actually really know what it is. John 3:16 talks about God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten son, that whosoever believed in him would not perish but have everlasting life. So love is self-sacrificial. God sent his only son into the world to die for us, that whoever believes in him would not perish but have everlasting life. That is the definition of self-sacrificial love. We just read John 15:13. Greater love has no man than this, that he lays down his life for his friends. Okay, let me read this real fast. You don't have to answer this until you want, but how did you start this ministry? Okay, I'll get to that in a little bit. We'll get to that, Christian Video Ministries. We'll get to this at the end. So I'll talk about that at the end. Let me continue though. Self-sacrificial love. So we just read Jesus saying that the greater love, there's no greater love than sacrificing yourself for your friends. And Jesus calls us his friends. So love is self-sacrificial. The next one I want to talk about is love is committed. Love is committed. And the verse I gave for this is Luke 22, verse 42. I'm going to give you guys a couple of seconds here to look this up. Love is committed. This is often something that society tells us is the total opposite. Love isn't committed necessarily. It's whatever you want it to be. You know, if you decide all of a sudden, you know, I don't love my wife anymore, I'm just going to, you know, divorce her and love someone else. And it's not committed. There's no commitment there. And, you know, it goes totally against the Bible. So I want to look at this verse here, Luke 22, verse 42. It says, this is Jesus praying to the Father in the Garden of Gethsemane before he's about to be crucified. So he says, Father, if you are willing, remove this cup from me. Nevertheless, not my will, but yours be done. I highlighted this verse because you really see some of the commitment of Jesus in this verse. You know, you see him agonizing over being about what's about to happen, being separated from the Father because of our sin, taking on the sins of the world, and he's about to be separated from God for the first time and only time in his life. Jesus is going to be separated from the Father because he's taking on the sins of the world, and he's agonizing over this. And he says, Father, if you're willing, remove this cup from me. And then he says, here's the commitment part. Nevertheless, not my will, but yours be done. He's saying, look, I don't want to do this. I really don't want to do this. This is going to be painful for me. This is going to be the worst thing I've ever done in my life. But I'm committed to what your will is. Not my will, but yours be done. I am committed to getting this job done. I'm committed to finishing what you called me to do on this earth. You know, back in John, I've been studying John a lot, so we're going to reference John a little bit more. But, you know, Jesus talks about, I believe it is in John, going off the cuff here, I don't remember exactly, but he talks about being glorified. You know, I did this study a while ago about a servant of God, you know, a servant of God. And this kind of goes into my next point, but, you know, Jesus was committed. He was committed to finishing what God started. And he asks us, he calls us to do the same thing, is to be committed to finishing what he started. And that leads me to my last point, which says, love is obedient. Love is obedient. And I referenced John 14:15, and it says, if you love me, you will keep my commandments. And before this live stream started, we had a guy, Rick Hamby, who came on and commented. He said exactly what this verse is. This is love, that you keep my commandments. And it's so true, because, you know, you can say, I love you, I love you, I love you. And that's what society tells us is true. They say, I love you, I love you. But if there's no commitment, if there's no obedience, if there's no actual action taken upon that statement, it's empty. It means nothing. You know, if someone says, I love you, but then they don't show it, it's kind of empty words, you know, it means nothing. And so obedience is how God says, this is how you show your love towards me. If you love me, you will keep my commandments. And what are his commandments, guys? Do you guys know what his commandments are? You can go ahead and chime in the chat box if you know. I'll answer it in a second, but I want to give you guys a chance to make this more interactive and talk with you guys. What is Jesus's commandment? That's the question. If he says, if you love me, keep my commandments. So what is that commandment? He answers it. Here's a hint. He answers it in the next chapter. Anyone? All right, well, I'm going to answer it here. John 15:12. He says, this is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you. I know the pressure, right? This is my commandment, that you love one another. So Jesus talks about obedience, commitment, and self-sacrificial love. And he says, if you love me, you will keep my commandment. And my commandment is love everyone else. So how do we do that? How do we love other people? Now, I could go into all this stuff about, well, you got to do this, 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 and this. And sometimes people give you these things and they're helpful a little bit, but I could give you all the tips in the world about how to love other people. Ultimately, though, it really doesn't matter. It comes down to your heart and wanting to love other people. Do you want to obey God's commandment and love other people? You know, so many times people are like, how do I love more? I'm praying that I love more people, but I don't know exactly how to do that. Well, like I said, I could give you all the tips in the world. People could give you all these different things, but if you don't actually want to do this in your heart, it's not going to happen. So you have to, first of all, want to love other people. You have to, first of all, want to fulfill God's commandment. And as Christians, we're called to. And I've met a lot of Christians who, you know, you can kind of tell. That is exactly right, Christian Video Ministries. I was just getting to that. But, you know, you see a lot of Christians who are like, you know, I don't really like other people. And that's not what God wants us to do. Here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. It's like, by focusing on being more like God, we end up loving people more. And the reason for that is because Jesus loved other people. And so if we're trying to be more like Jesus, we're automatically going to love people more. Georgie says it's kind of like repentance. You have to want to change. That's exactly right. You have to want to love other people, though. No one can force you to love other people. It has to be something that comes from your heart. And so I can say, you know, do this, you know, be more selfless, and people can give you all these tips. It's kind of like anything, really. You know, if you want to improve your basketball skills or football skills or whatever, people say, well, make sure you spike, throw the ball this way, or, make sure you have this kind of form, or, whatever. But ultimately, if you don't really want to learn, you're not going to really do it. You're not going to improve. And so it's the same thing with love. God tells us to love other people, and that's how we show our obedience. So we show how we love other people. How we love God by loving other people. And the way we do that is by focusing on being more like God. It's kind of an interesting cycle, but that's the way God designed it. So sometimes I get in my mind, I see someone I really kind of just don't like. They kind of irritate me. And I'm like, I really don't want to love on this person. But I always want to love God. And I always want to, improve myself and be better. And I want to be more like God. And that's one of my goals. So even if I don't necessarily like this person, I say, I want to improve and be more like God. And as I do that, my heart changes. And it says, you know what? I need to be more loving to this person. I need to be kinder to this person. And that's happened to me so many times. And I'm sure many of you guys will have noticed that in your own lives, is that as you focus on God and doing what he calls you to do, as you spend time in his word and pray and study what he wrote in this Bible, you end up having a change of heart. Your heart changes. And that's the beautiful transformation that's talked about in Romans 12. Do not be conformed, but transformed by the renewing of your mind. By focusing on this word, you get transformed and your heart becomes changed, and you're like, suddenly you want to love more people. It's kind of it's hard to explain in a sense, but that's what God calls us to do. So self-sacrificial love, commitment, and obedience. So these are the three things that I have taken away, the overall things that I've taken away from Jesus's life that I would like to present to you and challenge you guys to love more people. And the way you do that is by focusing on being more like God. It's Mother's Day today, and I appreciate you guys joining me here. I'm sure that you guys have, parents or, family members who are celebrating today. Maybe you celebrated early with your mom. My mom is across the country right now, so I'm actually away from my family right now. That's why I'm here. But we celebrate on Mother's Day, how much we love our moms and what they've done for us. Some of the best moms have sacrificed time and sleep and energy, possibly even hopes and dreams, that they had. And it's all to see their kids succeed. And that's love, guys. That's love. That's what love is. And that's what Jesus did for us. That's what we are called to do for others. My mom sacrificed a lot for me growing up. She was always there for me. And I am who I am because of my parents. But this dedication that your mom has for you is the love and dedication that Jesus has for us. And it's what Jesus wants us to have for others. So I'd encourage you guys this week, as you go about your daily life, think about that. Think about how you can be more loving to other people. Focus on, and maybe that's a challenge for you. Maybe it's, I can't think about loving other people. I just have too much of an irritation with people or something. Well, then focus on being more like God. You have these bracelets that say, like, what would Jesus do? I'm not wearing one currently, but there's these things that say, what would Jesus do? And even though that's kind of a tacky tagline or whatever, it's kind of true. You go about your daily life and you say, how would Jesus love on this person? How would Jesus talk to this person? We're trying to be more like him, right? So I'd encourage you guys, as you go about your week, focus on being more like him. And then think of your parents. Think about what they've done for you. Self-sacrificial love. Your mom has sacrificed so much for you, and my mom has done that, and it's a huge, I give her credit because I'm a handful sometimes. But it's this kind of love that Jesus wants for us, and he has for us, and he wants us to exhibit to other people. So that is that, guys. That is the end of my little spiel. I hope you guys got a little bit out of that. I'd encourage you guys, if you have questions, I will do my best to answer. Okay. So let's talk about Christian Video Ministries asked how we started this ministry and get it to grow. It's awesome that you want to start ministry. You're starting it in about 3 weeks. Okay. I'd love to hear more details about that, because that sounds like a really cool thing that you're doing. You know, I love it when, you know, people feel called to start up ministry. The way we kind of started our ministry, and guys, this is kind of like the great spiel. Thanks. Appreciate it. This is kind of the wrapping up here. We're just kind of talking now. The way we started this ministry was about, oh gosh, it's like 2013. The two other teammates that are who are not currently here today, Miles and Nick, who's my brother, who's across the country, celebrating Mother's Day with my mom. My friend Miles, he felt like he wanted to do some whiteboard videos online. You know, he saw a lot of really cool whiteboard videos that were coming up, and so he felt like he should do a Christian video or a Christian whiteboard video. And so I'm a video editor by trade. That's what I do for a living. So I was like, well, I can help you with that. I do video stuff for a living. So I helped him record some of that stuff, and we posted it, and it got a lot of hits. So we're like, okay, well, let's make another one. And then we posted Why Should I Trust the Bible? And we posted only like 4 videos for a little while, and then a pastor or someone shared our video, and it got like 20,000 views. And we're like, wow, okay, let's keep going with this. So we took a little break for a while, and then just this past September, we started picking it up again, full steam ahead. So I apologize that we haven't posted in the last 2 weeks. We've been busy with finals and things like that. So we are, not me, I'm finished with school, but my 2 other teammates are working tirelessly at school. So they are finishing up, and we'll be hopefully getting back into it this week. But yeah, that's a brief overview of how we started. We actually did a video not too long ago about the Impact team. It's on our channel called like Meet the Team or something like that. It's kind of an old video, but we also have like a newer one that talks about some of that backstory and how we got started. If you're feeling called to do ministry, though, that's great. I don't know what kind of ministry that is. I'd love to hear more about it. But yeah, I mean, pray about it. And you know, the biggest thing that I've taken away from doing this whole impact thing is that I've learned so much about the Bible by sharing it with you guys, by being forced to make videos about the Bible. I've had to learn it very carefully and answer people's questions and things like that. And it's a responsibility that I wouldn't want to put on anyone, and I didn't expect to have it put on me, but it's really been kind of awesome to grow in the Lord as I've been doing this. You have 3 people who are going to be with you. I'm going to college for missions and film production. I have an office that my church is donating. Wow, that's awesome. That's yeah, thanks, Georgie. Yeah, I did learn a lot. Hey, that's awesome, Christian Video Ministries. That's so okay. So you're going to colleges for missions and film production. So you're doing film. Like, so you're a video guy too then. Where are you located, generally speaking? Like, you on the East Coast, West Coast, where are you at? But yeah, guys, this kind of wraps up some of the study. I hope you guys got a lot out of it. I apologize that I had to kind of ramble a little bit, but you know, my teammates aren't with me. So anyway, I hope you got a little bit out of it. If you have any questions, I'll be here for about another 5 minutes. So if you have anything that you want to comment or talk about, I'd love to hear from you guys. And hopefully we will get our guest speaker back in, not for the next live stream. Hopefully that's the plan. I called him, I emailed him. I have a feeling he didn't show up because it was Mother's Day, and I don't blame him. But yeah, hopefully that would be a really cool topic. We're trying to do the existence of God, proof that God exists using scientific evidence. And this guy is really good with science and stuff. You're in Ripley, Tennessee? No way. Okay, I'm in Tennessee. I'm in like Franklin area, like Nashville, Franklin area. So that's so cool, man. Hey, email me go to our channel and email me. That would be so cool. We should meet up. Yeah, so anyway, we're hopefully trying to get this guy on for the next live stream. But anyway, so thank you for doing this. Exactly when you hear this video is very true in tune. Oh, good. I'm glad to hear that, Georgie. Yeah, it's a topic that many people, many Christians don't know. You know, they don't know. It's something that they don't. Hi, Amaya. It's just me today. I'm sorry. 2 hours away. Not bad. Okay. I'm new to this area, so I don't know it too well. But okay, 2 hours away. Good to know. Yeah, email me. Go to the About channel or About tab in our channel and check out the email. And yeah, send me an email and I'll respond to you. That'd be cool. Yeah, we are working tirelessly away. We're trying to do some behind the scenes things that you guys are probably not aware of yet, but we're working on some more whiteboard videos and things. We've just been busy with school. So once that's all done, we will be going full steam ahead back into it with a bunch of videos and things like that. So, and then hopefully we'll have that guest speaker on. I would really like to, and maybe you guys have some input. I would like to, I'm trying to get some like guest speakers on more so that we can like have some experts talk in the field besides just me talking all the time. I would love to have like some experts come on and things like that. To me sounds kind of cool, but I'd love to hear what you guys think. That would be, to me, that I'm like, I think that would be really helpful for you guys. For example, if we got someone who's really like familiar with scientific evidence for the Bible, or if we got like a really cool pastor or something like that, I think that would be really cool. Anyway, that's what it's been going through my mind. I've been trying to figure out how I'm going to do that. So yeah, a lot of things behind the scenes that we've been talking about, trying to do. It's just a question of resources and all that. So anyway, guys, yeah, that would be pretty awesome, huh? Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you guys had a good time. Happy Mother's Day to any mothers out there who are watching this video. And feel free to subscribe, like, share, social media, connect with us. And we will see you guys on the channel next time. So have a good one, guys. Take care.